God.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was he wearing a mask?
No, he had his mask down.
Oh, my goodness.
They were showing. And Fossey had his mask off the other night when he threw that lame pitch.
He threw the pitch, and it went way left.
Way left.
Now, tell me that wasn't prophetic for pitching to this crap to the leftists, right? That's what that was prophetic for. And then he's up in the stand sitting next to his buddies with no mask on.
No mask on.
And the lady sitting next to him didn't have a mask on.
Nope. But he sure has been lecturing us about it, ain't he? And let me tell you something. I had an incident. This happened this weekend. I was in the store, and you mentioned the pitness against each other, and I experienced a little bit of that. I walked into a electronics store. I didn't have a mask on. The guy told me, he said, you need to put a mask on. I said, I'm medically unable to do so. And, of course, I was telling the truth because I've got a medical condition that is called have a brain. It's called have-a-brainitis. So I was suffering from that. And I walked in, and I was looking around for a salesperson. Well, this guy walks up beside me. He's got his mask on, and he says, I guess you're looking for your mask, ain't you? And I turned to him, and I shook my head no. I said, actually, I'm not. And he sort of rolled his eyes. And, I wasn't going to get into a fisticuff or anything with him, but I did say under my breath, and he heard me because he turned around, and I said, you need to mind your own business. I did. I told him, I said, you might need to mind your own business. And he just shook his head. But, Mark, that's what this is doing to our populace. I think
that's where the PR campaign has failed miserably.
It's failed. It's failed. Absolutely, it has.
Yeah, that's where it's failed. So these guys have got to get off the hip, man, and start doing the PR. And look, Governor DeSantis has got the facts.
He's got the facts.
He's got the facts with the laboratories pulling this crap. Why are we not out there blasting it, man, over the airwaves right now and taking the fight to them? Look, Representative Anthony Sabatini that I talked about a second ago, he's got multiple lawsuits, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, multiple lawsuits in the state of Florida from people who have had their rights violated over this mask garbage.
Well, that's the thing.
He's taking the fight to them.
And I want to just make our people aware tonight. When it says mandate, folks, mandate does not mean law. In fact, if you get down to mandate, most of these mandates are not even being issued by city councils or state government. They're being issued by health departments. They're recommendations. They are recommendations. But as Mark said, and you're absolutely right, the cities and the stores and the business owners and the communities and the city councils and the county commissioners are buying into this mandate and thinking it's law, and they're buffaloing the people to believe that it is too. And I'm going to tell you something. If you've been fined for a mandate, folks, you better fight it. You need to fight it with everything in you. Get you an attorney, and let's see if they can make you put a mask on from a mandate. There's nothing in the Constitution that says they can do that. Nothing.
And here's here's an even great idea, even above and beyond the whole lawsuit thing. Vote them out.
Vote them out.
This is why people are learning right now who their tyrannical state and local governments are right now. And this is actually kind of a good thing, honestly, because we've been sitting on our butts here for how many decades, allowing us to go on, the enemy to take ground, and now we're trying to recoup that ground. It's going to take us a little while, and it's going to be a heated fight, but we're going to get it. More pastors say they won't hold in-person services until 2021.
Unbelievable.
Yep. And so a lot of these, Andy Stanley, the pastor of the multi-site,
yeah, he's got satellite churches. Yeah,
satellite churches everywhere. That's one. There's a bunch of North Point Community Church here in Atlanta, Georgia, 30,000 members. There's a bunch of other ones on here that aren't going to be holding services. And look, I understand that it's a touchy subject in some states. I get it. But, there's a fine line here. And when you look at the churches, I'll look at Newsom out there. He's shutting down churches, including home groups out there right now.
Yes.
Now, some are saying this is an attack against Christianity. Well, yes, it is. It's an attack against faith when you get to that point. But what's happening with the church system, I believe, some of this is judgment on the church system.
I'll agree.
God's hand is coming off. He's saying, okay, you guys didn't want to listen. You didn't come out of the system. My hand of protection is coming off. There it is. And so, but the problem is, how far do you let that go until it becomes an attack on faith?
Good point. Good question.
See what I'm saying? So this is where we have to be careful. How far do we let that go until it becomes an attack on faith? Now, Newsom has gone beyond the church system, and it's become an attack on faith because he's trying to shut home groups down. He's trying to shut everything down. When you look at Dr. Birx, who we released that whole story, go back and look at, was it last week? I think it was. It was on the call for the White House, call for the evangelical team.
Yep.
She was saying that basically just, shut it down, all kinds of stuff that she was releasing on this call. But here again, you got to realize that the 501c3 churches answer to Dr. Birx.
And they do.
So you don't have a choice. You were told to come out. There's their agenda. And I think Trump is allowing that to happen right now so that these churches can get their bellyfuls of this mess and say, okay, at what point you guys going to start saying enough's enough and come out swinging?
Excellent point.
Because look, President cannot do this on his own, Chris.
No, he cannot, Mark.
It is up to we the people to get behind him and take this fight to the enemy, whether it's lawsuits, whether it's picking up the phone and calling your governors, voting, running for a particular office, whatever it is. There's a multitude of things that we can do in order to help the president, but he cannot do it alone.
No, he cannot. And he wasn't ordained to do it alone, Mark. Look,
wasn't ordained to do it alone.
The church is a spiritual voice. And to add to your statement and to confirm what you're saying, look, the Supreme Court, Roberts betrayed again.
Yep.
In the sense that he came down on the side of the liberals last week because there was a case that was brought to the Supreme Court about a group of pastors. I want to say it was Indiana or somewhere up north, maybe Illinois. Well, there was a group of pastors that brought a lawsuit against their state because of the government mandate that they got to shut down. Well, guess what? The Supreme Court said, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It's the governor's law and the government's statement is how we're going to side on, and they had to do it. But I thought about you when I heard that because, again, these pastors are at the whim of the government. If you're beholden to the government,
yep.
Then you're at whim. It don't matter if it's Robert, and we can get upset with John Roberts all we want to, folks. But look, You shouldn't even have to be filed a 50. You wouldn't even have to file a lawsuit if you wasn't in the system to begin with. You wouldn't even have to do that.
Yep.
Because anyway,
this is all by design. We all know this is all by design. These cities doing this, and here's another one. Portland city officials order the feds to remove protective fence from the court's building to aid rioters in their ransacking. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, man. You know what I mean? You really cannot. Now, we talked about, I think we talked about a show or two ago. I just had this conversation with a couple. Was it last night? I think it was. And I told you they were asking me my opinion of whether the public schools for their kids, this, that, and the other. I said, the smartest thing, if you can financially afford it, keep your kids out of public schools. Keep them out of college. You just had Gina Phillips on. I'm going to go into that in a second. Who talked about the mind control that's going on in daycare, in elementary schools, in the colleges, and yes, folks, in the churches. She confirmed exactly what we've been discerning and telling people here and warning people about for I don't know how long. But I told this precious couple, I said, if you can afford it, keep your kids out of the system at all costs. Keep them at home, raise them at home, homeschool those kids. Right here, what I'm fixing to share is a prime example. Here are the mugshots of Antifa members arrested in Portland. This should be a wake-up call because 13 out of 20 of these guys are teachers.
Teachers, exactly.
Okay?
I saw that. I heard that today. Yes.
Right there.
They're teachers.
They're teachers.
Yep. I see it now. Yes.
Okay? They are teachers. This is why you don't put your kid in daycare. This is why you don't put them in public schools. Look, this is a whole new realm. This is a whole new realm we're in right now, Chris. This is a whole new time of truth that's coming out right now that God is exposing on a very deep and high level right now. And people have got to wake up to this truth that your kids are not safe out there in the system right now. Yeah. It is not safe to even be in a church. Now, I want to go over something else right now real quick because let me get it up here real quick. I had a email from someone. We talked about the PPP loans going to the churches, right?
Yes. Great. Time for this.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, let's get into this one.
Guys, you need to listen to this. Let me stop you. Guys, listen.
Go right ahead.
Calm your chat down. You need to listen to what Mark's about to read. I'm not telling you not to talk, but you really need to pay attention. If you've not paid attention all show, this is huge. And this is huge. Listen up, Mark. Roll on, buddy.
Yep. Okay, so we talked about the PPP loans for the last, 2 shows, I think it was.
Yes.
Millions. You can verify this, pull it up, Google it, whatever your search engine is. Joyce Myers, T.D. Jakes, Paula White, Kanye West, all these millions of dollars are going, and taxpayer funds are going to these millionaires. Some of them are even billionaires. Kanye West is a billionaire. Why does he need $2 to $5 million in a loan? You know what I mean? Give me a break. Why does Joyce Myers, T.D. Jakes, and Paula White, who don't pay taxes, by the way, got millions
They got millions
in loans
They did.
of taxpayer money? It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Now, another one that got one that was in that article was Steve Furtick.
Yep.
Elevation Church.
Elevation Church.
Okay. Now, this precious woman of God, and she gave me permission to put this on the air. She emails me. She said, "Hi, Mark. I attend Elevation Church here in Charlotte and have been part of it since 2013. When you shared on the program about the churches taking the PPP money and Elevation taking a few million of that, I was really unsettled about that. So I asked one of the leaders at Elevation about it. Ready for this? I thought you'd be interested to know the response. First, he acted shocked that I knew, and he asked how I knew. I told him it came out through Reuters."
Mac Reuters, MCREUTER.
Well, it was the article in Reuters, right? So then he said, yes, they took that money, but we're using it to give to those in need. Didn't I call that 2 weeks ago? I believe it was. God said that, hey, they were going to justify this by trying to help the needy or try to justify this, right?
You did.
He said, yes. He said, but we were using it to give to those in need. They broke the law, which I'll tell in a minute. He then instructed me to not spread this around. He also attempted to instruct me on how to respond if I'm asked about it. I told him I did not understand why they would borrow from the taxpayer while not paying taxes themselves to give to those in need. To that, there was no response. I'm praying about finding another church. This does not set well with me at all. Now, I did a show last night on Red Pill 78, and I did not know this. He actually broke this one to me because we have been calling for an audit on this show. That all these guys need to be audited, right? Here's what I did not know that he shared with me. Apparently, Mnuchin has a full audit plan for PPP loans of more than $2 million.
Wow.
So I got a feeling that this money was let go to find out where it's going.
It's a great point.
And where it's going to, because remember I was hoping I said the last show, I was hoping it's going to be trace and tracked. Sounds like here, if they got more than $2 million, you're going to get audited, folks.
Good for him.
Now, if they use this money to help the homeless or to feed the homeless, that's not what that money was for.
It was not. Exactly.
That was
right.
Payroll money only, was it not?
It was payroll money.
If you're going to feed the homeless or help those in need, that would be a different loan.
Use your own donations.
That would be a different loan. That come under a different loan.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling they broke the law, and I got a feeling this is going to get really nasty before this gets any better.
We'll be following that story, folks. You'll hear about